I've got a safe place, if you like. A place where I like to envisage being. So when times are tough, I try to think about this particular thing, and it's about walking through a forest or a jungle, and I come out to this clearing. But I certainly paint places that I can envisage going to and feeling safe. There's no people, there's no traffic, there's no cars, no disturbances as well, just me and sort of wildlife. It feels absolutely peaceful. Oh, happy days.
Get this shot and make going any closer. Yeah. Yeah, like really like. Yeah. It's all about him, isn't it? It's all about him.
Me.
You might as well go home, Steve.
Yeah, not needed at the bottom.
Not come back either.
What was that?
I said, don't come back either.
What happens if you got your head a little bit closer? What's it? What if you stuck your head even closer?
I've been looking faint.
Try it. You might like it.
I can't. Yeah. Is that close enough?
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, that's good. That's great. And then focus on his face. Yeah, face, perfect.
I think about what I'm doing next. I just need to get a bit of blue.
So how did I come to be here? That's a good question. A few years ago, probably about 12 years ago, I worked with another charity. And because I lived up here, so we started looking to put a centre together because I've got a bit of a background in community type work. The Rossendale said, yeah, we can help you set up. So we sort of set up here. We had no money or anything like that. So that's when VIC came about, and the guys that was with us, Dave and Darren that are there now, and I think Steve possibly, I just give them the tools to actually get on and make a difference to their lives and their families, and seeing them change other people's lives the same way. Art was the first thing that we did because that was quite well established and because it fitted in with Darren. And then we sort of squatted in different places for 12 months until we were offered this centre now that we've got in Haslingden.
Come in, guys.
What does VIC do? I call it a magic. Perhaps seeing things in people that they don't actually see themselves. So it's the people that make VIC, not the individuals.
Once you saw it, you can call yourself a nudist.
Once you walk inside these doors, you can forget what goes on outside and you're in a different environment. So by helping each other and looking after each other, you know, it's a way of prospering. But we're back in the community, so it's important to belong to the community, not have them and us scenario. We all have families, and we all look after them as well as others. So it's always been a motto, you know, veterans and their families. That's always just been just as important. A bit like the funny walk.
It's one of the reasons why I like this art group more than any other one that I've been involved in over the years. Because they speak the language that I understand. And I'm not an ancient, not surrounded by loads of ancient, I'm saying this through the God. It was the art group I belonged to before. It was all very retired.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
were much older than I was.
You mean like me?
See, that's how I feel now.
Yeah, and it was just, and then I came here and it was like that, because I was brought up as a military brat. And it was like, I speak the language, I understand these people, this is where I fit. And I've still 10 years.
And you've been here.
Bloody couple of years, I know.
That's a huge talent. Liz, you know, and Tracy coming almost 10 years. It makes me feel that actually I'm part of the community. Transitioning from military life into civilian life is so incredibly hard. But when you're made welcome to a place like this, I feel absolutely, you know, honoured. Because we both went through post-traumatic stress symptoms.
I've not.
You have. You say you haven't, but maybe not connected to, but anger issues.
I've had severe anger issues.
You know, and guilt and things like that.
I said that. I've always said that's more through transition than it is through anything else. I just never settled into civistry.
Exactly.
All.
So that's another.
You know, and still haven't. 30 odd years, 40 years later.
You can use your fingers to blend.
Yeah.
I do nothing else but have this.
Yeah, I do as well, actually. I do it with oils.
Painting is a process, a learning process. And each time you do it, Darren will tell you exactly the same thing. I'm Liz. Every time you do a painting, you learn. It's no different than anything else in life. And I know for a fact now, chuffed to bits with it then, but I know for a fact I could do that 4 or 5 times better. So, yeah, it's just literally learning. Can you see all that in there, all the black? I wouldn't do that now. That there, all around there, the black. And it's not a tube black, that's a mixed black, but it still looks too flat. I wouldn't have. If I was doing that now, I'd probably have a big head on.
Looks like a garden.
That's it, though. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's good. I can see it. I'll put it actually. I can see the window actually. Nearly for left.
That looks really good, Darren. You actually do look like you're painting a very straight line.
He's doing it better than he does in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
What it is.
Steve, we're just mapping out what we think the film's doing so far. So actually, if you can make sense of this would be really useful.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie, how do we make these visual? And you're already exploring that with some of the experimental stuff, right? How do we represent that with something you can see or something that makes you feel what we're talking about, not just hear it?
But the painting sort of dissolves and you end up with a paradise scene.
Yeah.
So you're getting lost in the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some of the guys, one door closes, you know, I'm worthless, there's nothing for me out here. And then suddenly they come to VIC and actually there's a lot that they can do, they can get involved, they can help create, so another door opens.
Yeah, and that's exactly that thing about overcoming barriers.
Yeah.
I went through that phase where one door closes, another door slams. That doesn't happen here because there's so many things that people can do, you know?
And I'll tell you what, another thing why people feel so comfortable here is because, like you say, nobody judges.
Non-judgmental, that was what I was
exactly.
thinking of. Non-judgmental.
Accepting.
Accepting, yeah. Is that the best way to put it? Accepting, yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah, inclusion.
I just forgot you was there.
You just zoned out.
Huh?
You just zoned
Yeah, I did, yeah. Pretty automatic. Well, so when I came out of the military, I became really quite unwell. After, I think it was about 10 or 15 years, I absolutely, eventually agreed that there was some problems. I was introduced to art therapy, and I could paint for 6 or 7 hours, and it felt like sort of, an hour or something. I used to get up, go down to the art room, start painting, and before long, I was told, it was dinner time. I've got a safe place, if you like, a place where I like to envisage being. When you're in a bad place, I close my eyes. I can imagine walking through this forest and, brushing all the foliage out of the way, tripping over some of the logs, getting deeper and deeper. And then coming to the edge of this forest, and there's this beautiful waterfall right over the far side, because I'm on a cliff edge, and down below is the waterfall coming down. Nothing sounds nicer than waterfall and thunder and lightning, but that's not there at the time. It's nice and peaceful. And at the bottom there's a beautiful crystal clear pond, And just to the side there's a family of gorillas, but there's this one gorilla that stands out the most, and it's a huge silverback gorilla, and you can almost go down there and be part of that family, because the silverback gorilla, it's the head of the family, and it's like a judge, jury, and executioner. I found that actually helping other soldiers and their families, actually, that painting for me was actually turned out better than any medication. I just got so much out of it. Like I say, started to help other veterans, and I realised that this is the road I want to go down.
I've never had flashbacks. I've never had severe nightmares. I did for the first couple of years. I had one or two, but after that, it's just put to the back of the brain and left. 2 kids have grown up singing this, which while they were growing up, I didn't realise there was an issue. They are pretty resilient. They do pick things up, things they shouldn't pick up as well, and some things they shouldn't see.
Earlier,
Hey?
what you put on that stuff that you put on earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody came over and was touching it.
Yeah.
And they went, "Oh, is that still wet?" So it did give the effect that it was actually wet.
Yeah, I'm still conscious. It didn't appear to be. I do an outreach. We were asked by a practice manager of a doctor's surgery in Littleborough, which is just outside the other side of Rochdale, would we go in and see this guy? But the problem was, it was his wife that had more issues because of his behaviour. He turned round and tells her, she doesn't do anything. I said, you've got the audacity to sit there and say to your wife that she doesn't do anything, and you sit on your arse. I said, don't work like that. But I said to Bob, I said, perhaps I shouldn't have said this. As it turned out, it was the best thing I could have said, because he was at Rochdale Breakfast Club the week after, came and sat at the table. He said, you opened my eyes. Do you know what I mean? And I was bothered that he might take offence, put a complaint in, this, that and the other, you know. But I was so rattled by it, knowing full well that that's how I've been treating my wife all these years. You know what I mean?
On that one.
Right, Dave.
Yes.
From the idea, the concept, and then the build.
Yeah, okay.
Can you just run me through that?
I can, yeah.
All that process.
From the original idea, I started looking online at photographs of World War I tanks. So we started with a big iron pole and hammered it into the ground.
Yes.
And then pushed the willow down into it.
Yes.
And stamped the earth around the base. The live willow started to grow.
Yeah.
Then we could pick that up and weave that in to replace the dead willow.
Okay.
So then it's actually growing in that shape.
Right.
Handling the willow is very therapeutic. Not mainly because it contains aspirin.
It contains what?
Aspirin.
Does it?
Yeah. So as you handle the willow, it gets through into your skin.
Yeah.
And it eases a lot of pain and.
I never knew that. They never mentioned that.
Yeah. Building something like this takes you out of yourself. You're in a completely isolated world, concentrating just on the willow. Yeah, I get a lot of satisfaction. You're creating something.
Yeah.
And if people can come along and appreciate what you've created, that gives you a buzz.
So like it's therapy.
It's no different than painting a painting. We could paint a picture of a tank. He's just created one.
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
Getting the therapy.
I'm going to try some of this. See if I can get. Yeah, look at her chewing it.
I like to know how things work, and why they work. And because of that, I tend to be able to fix things quite easily. And I've got a sort of a memory for how things go together. So I can pull something apart today and come back to it in 6 months' time and put it back together exactly as it was, but working. I think that works with art as well. If the line doesn't look quite right, why doesn't it look right? What can I do to make it right? So I keep going over, do a line, rub it out, do it again, and eventually I end up with a reasonable facsimile of life.
What basic training did for me, they absolutely knocked the kid out of me.
It's knocking the civilian out of you, building your character and your self-esteem. You become
I think you
a
become more
puppet.
confident. You gain more confidence within yourself as well.
And self-respect. But you learn to jump when you're told to jump.
Yeah.
That's the idea of basic training, so that when you go into active service, you do as you're told, or you put other people's lives in jeopardy.
First time I ever put my medals on since leaving the military was when I came here, and that was you know, quite a significant, proud moment for me.
I'm like you. I don't think I wore mine for.
I think when I came
I didn't
out,
put it on at
yeah,
Remembrance Day. No. Oh.
I came out. Yeah, I saw yours the other day, and you've never worn yours.
Why don't you wear them? Or why didn't you wear them?
I couldn't
I
answer
can't
you
answer that neither. No, I don't know why I wore them. No,
I couldn't answer you that.
I have no idea.
No, I never wore mine through a protest against the way the army and army and the MOD had treated me.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got them, and I have them on show at home, but I won't wear them.
Not on your body.
No.
Maybe, I don't know, because I still can't answer that question. But if you was to go to a, you know, remembrance or something like that, and then put your medals on, you may then get stared at, which is a big thing with me. I hated people. I was paranoid about that. Still am. But then you might get people asking questions and things like that. I just wasn't ready to talk about those times, like, you know. But then when I come here and you're around the same sort of people, like I say, it doesn't matter what you've done, what you've served, how long you served, and all. We're all the same.
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you.
It's recording. Whether it's
No, it's very low. There might be something over there.
From your lips she drew the hallelujah.
Liz, how does it compare to the other art groups that you've been to?
Oh, this one's special. I mean, I've been coming for 10 years and it's part of my life. I mean, I don't come on a Friday, my week's gone all wrong. It's some very strange people here. Strange and wonderful, but it's very enjoyable and we have a good laugh, don't we?
We do. See if that's the right colour.
I'll press that one first.
Before you go into the army, we're all civilians. So you also work in a civilian lifestyle and everything else. You know, no different. But then you go into the military and they drum that out of you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so hard to transition back into civilian life.
And then if you put the whole lot in, you can put the detail in afterwards.
Yeah.
To take the form.
I was a section of 12 on the Falklands. When we all came out with minor injuries, but nothing really traumatic. Out of those 12 now, there's only 2 of us left. The other 10 have committed suicide. They've all died by their own hands, and that's purely because they cannot. That's how hard they find transitioning from military life into civilian life, and it's a good point as well, because if there was more centres like this set up, that wouldn't happen as much, which is why we then have to rely on civilians for the funding.
wants to drop down just a little bit,
Right.
so the gap is equal at each end.
Okay. Got you.
I don't know, you missed that first time around, Darren, really.
I made it laugh. Well, Vince was going all over the place.
Yeah, civilians come in and see what we're like, but they also give us the chance to see what they're like. So we become more like them and they become more like us. And that you get that mixture then, which is transition. It's this safe place it's referred to in every interview. VIC is a safe place.
It's not just the process of painting the picture. It was taking me out of an environment I didn't want to be in to put myself in an environment where I did. Hence why I paint a lot of ships, because that's where I really wanted to be. There's a lot going on within that painting. I've been asked by certain Falkland veterans, you know, can you do the Sheffield when it was hit? I'm sorry, no, I can't. I can do the Sheffield when she was in
Harbour.
Falklands. Yeah, look.
but no, I'm not doing a smoke billowing out, you know.
Yeah. Because you can imagine what's going on under the decks. Yeah, when the ship's been hit.
I treated a lot of them lads, and that's not where I want to be.
Some of the things that we've been through, you know, is not a place to take somebody.
It's not a place that we want to be in.
No,
So we certainly don't want anybody else to be in that place.
Yeah. That's why I think a project like this is ultra incredibly important to try and get the message out there that, you know, but, you know, this place saves lives, and that's why it's incredibly important.
It's about personalities, isn't it? And that's what works with this group. It's the personalities that will now the insanity. Well, there's always that one definitely a thing, but it's that idea. It's like ingredients. You might not all be the same, but together. Yeah, you don't have that kind of mindset, I think, to survive. Got to be able to give and take.
When you first approach a building or a group like this, or you know, an organisation like this, it's always quite what's the word?
Daunting experience.
Daunting.
Yeah.
It's always quite daunting. The idea of putting the VIC house there is that in that scene, you can see that it's a beautiful place to go, beautiful place to walk. Some of the places that I've been are very daunting to go in and knock on the door and ring the bell or whatever. So I think that for me is why it was important to paint that. So, I mean, was it daunting for you when you first come here?
So for me, before I come here, obviously I had a breakdown last year with stuff going on in Afghan because of my prior experience there. Led to me doing something silly. I did seek help at the time, and I got really let down, and I completely lost faith in humanity. So coming here, like not just with the veterans, but instead by the civilians in the group as well. I feel like I'm in a place where I don't get judged, and I can really relax. I sort of, Liz mentioned it earlier, like a sense of belonging. But what's important for me is they helped restore my faith, especially Steve and Darren have helped restore my faith in humanity. Yeah, so even if I'm like away and having a bad week or something, I always think I'll try and get up to my art group. It's nice to have something to look forward to again.
And then when Shane didn't make it one week, I actually phoned you up.
Yeah, you did. Appreciate that, and I forgot that because
Yeah.
it wasn't all that too long
It wasn't
after
just
my
when you were there.
sort of incident, and like no one had even bothered, and I thought, and I really felt like I don't matter. So
Yeah.
that meant the world to me. When
Yeah.
like,
Well, that,
you went out of your way that much, you even rang my partner to
Yes.
let the message. So
Yeah.
I was over the moon with that.
yeah, and that's not because I want you £6 for subs.
It is.
Reaching over.
Face on, yeah.
How does it feel now to be filmmakers?
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so embarrassing, you can't look at it.
We work together now, so I mean, if we tried to do it individually, probably wouldn't be able to do it. But you don't normally see things, right? Every day, you look, but you don't see. And yet, for me, when I was looking for a camera, that's completely different. One of the things that I see in that painting standing back, sort of saying, yeah, that's it. That's finished. That's the end of that.
But do you want it to be finished? So what are you saying, when you're going through that door for the last time, that's the future?
Yeah,
And we don't know what the future
exactly.
is.
Yeah, every door has a new beginning.